What up, everyone? Switch Job here once again. Well, this time it won't be much as any Mario randomizer or anything, since Game Guy is gonna be in our stream since modded that. So yeah, and I don't think it's gonna be any game stream today. So yeah, I think probably just another chilling, relaxed stream. So yeah, man. Oh, my throat is still killing me. Oh man. Wow, almost December. What a fun time it is. Now, tomorrow is December 1st, which is only like what? 31 days left of the year until we are in 2025. May wonder what mysteries and tragedies 2025 will have for us all the next year. Well, there are a few things I hope for that's gonna happen. Um, what kind of things I hope for at least? Hmm. I mean, other than meeting Fire God for the first time, hopefully at least. And I really don't know what else I expecting to happen for next year or so. Man, I'm looking. So yeah, this day actually have been a little. Well, it just have been. Man, this day actually have been more relaxing, and I haven't really done much today except um, I actually got up around nearly 3 p.m. So get up at around 30 p.m., watch TV, and be working on this new quest based on the Flintstone series back in the 60s. It was a pretty good show back then. Modern Stone Age family. It's interesting. Though I didn't not include any of the questions based on the live action movies they made. And I won't be including any questions based on the for this Flintstones quiz. I only include questions from the original, the show from the back in the 60s. Include some of the movies that they made, including the one of the Family Jetson from the future, travel back in time. That one, it's wonderful, gonna be part of it. But I'm not include any questions from the live action movies, even though I like them, but it's not the same. and the and of course, there's on the newest um, Flintstone shows that they have made. The one especially with Pebbles and Bam Bam were that's I think it was Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network that has this channel on when they are talking and all. So yeah, that one not be included that quiz, but only the original series. So yeah, and at least that this knucklehead.
Good evening.
Well, people, wrong because we had a mother our serial killer in here. You know, killer of cereals.
You, you say anything like that to someone, they might hide all their bowls and spoons and drink all the milk on you.
I don't know. It's kind of a bit strange. Like, the word for serial killer, and then now there's someone like serial,
Uh,
and I like serial making that part of it. Oh man, that's just people really came up with some strange things.
yeah. So, so yeah,
So yeah, finally get some snow on the ground.
yeah. Welcome to use the restroom. Took a look out my window, and there were snowflakes falling.
Well, same thing as for me though. Back in um, back this birthday. I mean, I was at when I went to work. It was just like light dripping of rain, and sometimes in just around lunchtime, it started snowing, and it was around the time when I left work. It started to snow.
Yeah.
It got this, but I was just barely almost at home. It stopped snowing. Well, not entirely, but it's still snowing, but a little more. But the snow that came this week, it even stayed. As soon as it come to contact with the ground, it melted.
Mhm.
I'm not expecting much any snow for this year. Even even though that my dad actually read that American weather people, I can't pronounce the word since something about they studied the weather. Um, they actually measured that after a volcano of Iceland that had an eruption melted tons of the ice, and that water vapor that went to the in the sky actually somehow will trigger a lot more snow and a colder climate for everyone in here in Scandinavia. Which I mean, even though there's some scientists in America actually has said there's gonna be are expecting a little bit colder temperature and a lot of snow for the past few years. But how many times of those times that they have promised that they will have snow and cold temperature around Christmas and most of the time, probably not none. Like no, no single snow at all.
I
And
mean,
Colleen,
what are the odds that by some chance they'll tell you, "Oh, it's about to snow for 1 week in July"? Because I've heard that saying before, Christmas in July, wherever, whatnot.
well, that might be true.
Yeah, but it's barely ever seen.
That there is the tree in my country that has red berries. Um, this is like an old farmer saying? Is that if there are plenty of those berries on the trees, it was saying there will be a harsh winter. And most of the time, over the past few years, though, that when there were plenty of rain and all that in the autumn, there were plenty of those trees that had many of those that particular berries. But when the winter came, I looked and looked and looked, but no much snow at all. In fact, the most of the snow that we were expecting in Sweden during this time of year, well, you might have to go further up north. They actually even had snow already. And again, guys, here. So, yeah, so he was basically they had all the snow, and that snow usually can start around say um early to mid October, and they can last until like April or May. But that is the reason for, because as far up north you get, it's a warning about the Arctic Circle you came to. And that is just one of those craziest about it. Because I saw this in a newspaper many, many years ago. Like they showed a map of Sweden actually, and they showed different sections of the country in at the time with percentage how much in high chance that part of the country would have some snow. And the most further up north had around 98 to 90 percentage to have chance of snow. And the section below that had around from 95 to 90. And as the part section where I live, at the time at least, there were maybe as 85 to 80% chance of snow. But the one that's very, the most southern most part of Sweden at that time couldn't expect to maybe have a decent much snow each 7 year. So imagine how much that happened. That people, I mean, my family sometimes had often wondered if we could maybe rent a cabin, something somewhere for the winter. But good luck. Try to find a cabin to rent or a booking a cabin this time of year, like in November, December. Good luck. They're like no one to be found. If you're lucky to find one, the price is gonna be skyrocketing. Trust me. Though my aunt actually, well, I don't know if she still has the cabin. Well, I mean, she shared one particular cabin very much up north, um, with another family. Uh, and my aunt's family had this cabin, had right to have this cabin for a couple of weeks in a time of the year. And she said, she said we could have bought it that time, but we had to drive long time. Um, I think my dad said it was about let's see. Oh boy. Oh boy, let's see. Oh, this is gonna but this is really much up north. Really, not as it would have taken us it's about, let's say it would have taken us about if we drove nonstop about 6 hours. And I'll tell you though, we couldn't even drive that far, even nonstop. I mean, even if we had gas that would last for 6 hours nonstop travel, it wouldn't even have worked. Because the problem is my dad. He can't sit in a car for that long due to his bad back. He can only sit in a car maybe for maybe an hour or two most. If he did sit in a car 6 hours non-stop without even get out at once, he probably wouldn't be bedridden for the rest of the next couple of days. And that is a terrible thing. But we even have been offered to stay in that place even in the summer if we wanted. But we also tell that summer in up north, and well, regardless for even what part of Sweden, uh, one word: mosquitoes. So that is another thing that we didn't go to.
Just be
And here's the
thankful.
thing.
Just be thankful. That's one thing you don't have to worry about in winter because you can't survive cold.
True. Though there is actually one country in the world, even in the summer, they don't even have to be. They don't even sell like any mosquito nets, mosquito anything that relates to mosquito type to prevent them or anything. That's Iceland. I mean, in summer they can even have a decent temperature that maybe around a single mosquito at all. Okay, someone is here. Ah, okay. Uh, the windows from Scotland. Don't worry, McGinn guy. Um, so yeah, basically, Iceland has no mosquitoes whatsoever. But there is a one funny story. When I was in school, this man actually had collected the sounds of the mosquitoes in Sweden and turned that into music. It's well, it's interesting, but and at the same time, there is people there that literally hate the sound of mosquitoes. By hearing the sound by your ear, like "Bzzz," like oh, no, not again. But this particular summer, we don't even have much experience of any mosquitoes because it has even really, they usually don't get out around if it's raining nonstop. They don't even getting out or move around. So also that they don't even usually mosquitoes don't even showing around when it's like a hot temperature, like if it's a drought. So this year we don't even personally. I have not even been bitten by any mosquitoes. Maybe a couple of times, but that's it. Usually more than that. So I really hope that at least that next couple of years that we won't have to experience anything. Yeah, that's true again, guy. The sound of mosquitoes are something that many people hate, and but be glad to at least one thing. Don't let that. You don't have to be worrying about this on this time. Some mosquitoes are living in some countries, regions, where mosquitoes are spreading some terrible diseases like malaria, Ebola, and some others. And that is another thing about it. But there is one thing and one particular animal in Sweden, though, but this is not only in Sweden. This particular animal lives basically anywhere except for Antarctica and Arctic, which is the tick. They are the most disgusting animal on the planet. Disgusting and don't even serve any particular purpose at all. I mean, it doesn't even show any. They are. I mean, they don't really. Sure, maybe they are some food source for birds and others, but what else do they do? I mean, don't they like ants? They live in like an organized society. I mean, they have like a monarch system. They have a queen. They have soldiers. They have farmers. They have um, nurses. They have collectors. They have anything. They're workers. So so the ants are is like they are like us, and they have the bees. They have a queen. They have the same thing: soldiers, workers, and even the ones who take care of uh, um, the next generation of bees, and as many other animals. But ticks, they don't really do much. I mean, they don't even have any other than being a food source from birds and maybe some other animals out there. But they don't even compute. They don't even attribute to anything else much important things as the much else. Of course, the mosquitoes are the same thing. They provide food source for many birds and other other insects or even lizards like chameleons or like that, but they spread diseases. But there are in fact some animals that like ladybugs. They don't even been they in fact in Sweden birds don't even eat the ladybugs because when they try they spit them out right away because they have something in their bodies like I believe they're like they're it's like a I believe it's like they are peeing or something that or they also like a self-defense mechanism in the body that they're releasing some form of toxin or an odor or maybe a smell or taste that may not spit them out right away. And it's just that many animals in the world have of a unique um, defense mechanism, but there is also that many animals in throughout history were pretty much unknown. Like as throughout the Middle Ages, the unicorns was considered as one of the most mysterious. Even the horn itself said to be could heal anything. But it turned out that horns that people found wasn't even a unicorn horn. It was from narwhals, a small whale-like animal that has a giant horn, which was the actual that where people believed was the unicorn horns. And as many other animals like the platypus, when it first was being told back in Australia back in the 1800s, scientists didn't even believe in such stories of a such bizarre animal didn't exist. I mean, could you imagine? You're living in the 1800s, you're either living or visiting Australia at the time when these stories came out, having been told stories about an animal, a mammal that has a duck beak and a flat beaver tail and laying eggs. I mean, many people like that is really bizarre animal, and scientists didn't even believe. Oh, I got it. But many people didn't believe in that such animals and existed. But after several uh, dead examples of those animals, the platypus, had been presented over to the scientists or in this scientific community, they had to realize they had to accept that the platypus were a real species and not a many imaginational. As much as any animals in the world. I mean, could you imagine? Same thing with when the Komodo dragon, when that was first discovered back in the 1920s. But there were even several years before then when a pilot saw this animal, this giant lizard on the beach, on the island. But when he came back, he told the stories of this animal, but he hadn't even, I don't believe that he took any photos of that because, but despite that, no one didn't took him seriously about this giant lizard on this remote island. But it wasn't like in the 1920s when people did took photos of this big lizard, and it turned out they were actually real. And as many people knows, China's most famous animal, the giant panda. Even the giant panda at one point was also considered as a cryptid for the whole world. I mean, I have a book about cryptids. When I saw an entering, a mentioning giant panda was considered as a cryptid, it makes sense. I mean, if there's an animal that's a mammal that lives remote parts of the world, I mean, like a platypus, that was at one point was also considered as a cryptid, but turned out to be a real, despite how many scientists didn't even believe it. But giant pandas, well, it was also discovered to be a real animal. And mountain gorillas, cryptid species. but they turn out to be real. So, how many animals out there? Oh, I got it again. Turn the Wi-Fi is problem. Yeah, thought so. But basically, many mammals and any other animals in the world have been considered as a cryptid. There is another animal that many were very skeptical to even exist: giant squid. Despite giant squid monster attacking the ships and dragging it down into the sea, like this ancient stories about kraken, they were actually real, but they didn't even attack the ships. I mean, they were big, but not big enough to sink down, sinking down on, pulling, dragging down a wooden ship. Not at all. Those ships were big, but I don't think they were even strong enough. Maybe if it was a small sailing vessel or maybe a small rowboat, easily. But a big ship like that, not really. But many scientists didn't even believe that the giant squid was even real because despite how many uh, washed up remains of a giant squid on the beaches around the world, but some of those remains of the giant squid on the beach were some was really bad condition. Some of them had rotted, most of them started rotting, and some parts of the body was missing, so they didn't know. But there wasn't until in early proof to officially recognize the giant squid to be real. They caught one on the tape. But there is one thing. In early 2000s, an underwater camera near, I think it was a drilling platform, caught something. It looked to be a giant tentacle, and the scientists had given their name as Marvin. But no one knows what minutes long, but only a few seconds of that original video still remains out there. No one knows exactly what it is because based on the video, it's too grainy to determine if it's an actual giant squid or if it's something else. And there were actually even okay. I don't know how many of you guys know of the famous word, the bloop. The bloop was actually is one thing that also many people have wondered over for the past several years because the bloop was actually found or at least heard in 1997 in Pacific Ocean. And the thing is, the bloop, it was only recorded only once. But this particular bloop sound wasn't just detected by only one NOAA, uh, wasn't detected by only one of the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration or NOAA. Um, they was actually detected multiple. The sound of the bloop spread 3,000 miles in the Pacific Ocean. And no one didn't know exactly how big what this causes sound. Some scientists believe maybe there was an undiscovered giant marine mammal. Some even believe that mammal could have been like compared to the blue whale, which is the largest mammal in the ocean. They estimated at first in some theories that this particular blue, if it was an actual species, could have been, I think, 2 to 3 times larger as the blue whale. But they now believe that mostly that the sound is was caused by an ice quake, which is being an iceberg that breaks apart, or an iceberg that dragging along the boat along the ocean floor. But the thing is, icebergs don't even cannot even exist much in the Pacific Ocean because that is tropical waters. An iceberg they don't melt quickly unless the Devil's Descent was spread even from the south from Antarctica because that is where most of the ice are. But if it is, who knows? I think it's possible that the bloop might not even have been an actual animal, but I believe it's more like a natural sound. Who knows? Maybe it could have been maybe some believe it might have been an underwater volcano, but I don't think so. An underwater volcano won't even make that type of bloop sound. But the ocean as itself, we had only explored 5% of the entire ocean. So who knows what else can be down there? Some people actually believe that might even have some giant undiscovered animals in the ocean. I think it's very possible, at least. I mean, the ocean is hasn't 95% of the ocean hasn't even been explored. So what else down there can actually contain from different species? Some people even believe that Megalodon, the giant extinct shark that went extinct 2.6 million years ago, could still exist somewhere in the ocean. But some scientists don't even believe it is possible that Megalodon, who went extinct so long ago, can even be alive today. Well, I mean, it's very possibility it might have. I mean, we have even like the 95% of the ocean isn't unexplored. But at the same time, is it possible they can even be there? Well, it's true, Game Guy. We have heard a lot of weird sounds in the ocean or even in the woods out there. The thing is, when you're talking about some undiscovered animals, there is one of those like the Bigfoot. Despite how many photos have been taken, how many videos have been taken of it, many scientists, when they're pointing out, um, when they see, when some scientists, when they're seeing photos and recordings of a jet of a Bigfoot that's too grainy or too blurry to can even make that's not Bigfoot. That's a bear or that is someone in a costume. They always demand proof of any more like HD clear, more like clearly photos or maybe videos or something that can actually show it. But many people who has trail cameras in the woods everywhere in the US has captured pictures or a recording of a Bigfoot that's clearly showing like the is can define that that is not a hoax because they can tell apart from if there's a by Cody again if they can't even tell apart if they're wearing a costume because some people can actually see like the muscles in the arm and they can even see um, the butt muscles. Yeah, and Code is back. His Wi-Fi is being a problem for him. Cody, you have really a problem. Yeah, it's a problem with your Wi-Fi there. But yeah, so many scientists when they pulling out that when they actually being presented photos or clips of a Bigfoot or anything else, are very clearly they're showing more perfectly in daylight. And I saw one particular guy that's a video of one, and despite that, some scientists actually dismissed that as a hoax. And it's shown clearly a picture of a Bigfoot in HD clearly. I mean, you could see the muscle in the arms and the chest area was broad, that was tall and that. But the scientists, when they saw this, that's just mess. That's just a hoax. How to find more evidence that they need, and how much more they really need to be proven to be. I mean, how much clearer photos or evidence do the scientific world need to prove that the Bigfoot are real or anything? I mean, like when the Yeti was first seen by well Europeans back in the 1800s. Same thing. I mean, people have seen giant footprints of like human footprints, but giant size, up on the Mount Everest. Not only on the lower plains, on their near the lower part of the ground, but even near the top. That's the problem. If those Yeti footprints that be found near the top of Mount Everest, oh, by Malachite, that is the problem. That can't be dismissed as a hoax. Because why can they be dismissed as hoax? Well, it's because there aren't any normal most people. Because you higher you up getting in Mount Everest, the thinner the atmosphere will get. That's dangerous. I mean, it's like anyone that were going up there as so far to be so top on a mountain like Mount Everest to pull out the impractical joke, to prank on people to believing they are actually found footprints of a Yeti. I mean, no, it's not really possible that. So it's really strange. But how many of you guys know of the series Supernatural? All those two brothers that hunting the supernatural beings or monsters. Because I there might even be season 16 of the series. But here is the plot twist in that. Even though the season 15 was released, finished off for a couple of years ago, I think it was like 1 or 2 years ago, so something like that. But there is only one small problem if they wanted to do Supernatural season 16 with both brothers again. And well, I used to see the series. I believe season 1 and season 2, but not much of the rest of that. But here's the thing: what it turned out, but in the last episode of season 15, um, the brothers Sam and Dean eventually passed away and was driving his Camaro or something like that in heaven. And got married, and even had a son, which he named Dean the second after his older brother. And he eventually died of old age. They would have had to do some explaining to do. I mean, if the season 15 ended with both brothers eventually passed away, I mean, we don't know if Dean died of old age or so. How would they try to explain of the season 16 if that's going to happen? Well, who knows? Maybe they will might even pull off something like um damn ringing sound in my ear. I hate that. But if they will pull off to make season 16 with both Dean and Sam in the Supernatural series to be continue, despite both brothers had died in season 15. I mean, Sam died of old age, and his brother Dean. Well, I don't know for sure when he died. So if they would have made season 16, it had to be sometime before then, like long before even season, like long before any of that events took even place. And then if that season 16 would be the final season, then it maybe had to connect, maybe put to see the last scenes of season 15 in the season 16's last episode in order to make that perfect sense. Otherwise, if like it's not like they're using magic to bring them back. It makes no sense. And it sees in a supernatural. Well, they later learned that Sam and Dean, they're actually direct descendants, like literally direct descendants of Adam and his sons Cain and Abel. And Adam, well, he actually appears in the show as a still living human, including with, uh, I believe Cain was also still alive, but he was cursed by a mark, and so yeah. And another thing, God in the supernatural near the end, he tried to end up speeding up the end of everything. So they really want to. He wanted to speed up the everything, the process to end the whole thing. But Sam and Dean managed to do something that God never even expected to do. Um, they really they've managed to turn God into a mortal being, meaning they turned him to a human. So he had no godlike powers anymore. But then, who is the new? But then, who is God? Well, get this: they, with the help of God's nephew, was somehow God's power. So he became the new God, and the former God became a human. So he can die of old age or even being killed easily. It's yeah, it, uh, it's so it's kind of weird. I have no idea how that even pulled off. And like I said, I never saw much of this year, the whole season or those series. But there is one particular episode that's actually had a reference to a real life event, the mysterious vanishing of Roanoke Colony, that's outside North Carolina. Because there was this, they were this small town, and everyone disappeared except for a few people that were matched inside this building, and that's it. So I really have no idea if Supernatural is a good show or not. The two first seasons, when I saw of it, it was good, but eventually I kind of lost interest in the whole series. So so yeah, I mean, and if they would pull off a season 16, they really need to put their big thinking acts on that one. Otherwise, it might be a bit strange how to. I mean, if both brothers had died in season 15, and if there would have been a season 16, well, they had to come up with some good explanation how that's possible and all that. And another thing about the series that many have either seen or heard of, from what I understand, the woman who made the voice for Bart Simpson is retiring. So does that mean that Bart will somehow be replaced by another character? Same thing is for Gumball from the Adventures of Gumball's Adventures. Um, it turned out that actor because they needed someone to have a high pitched voice in order to maintain his preteen character's persona. There were in fact several other that many voice actors also have from The Simpsons. Also, especially the one who played for Apu, the Indian man, the guy from the Quickie Mart in The Simpsons. He during the Me Too movement start and other things. So it's just how many shows out there that has many different for the one who made the voice for Edna Krabappel from The Simpsons also retired eventually, and they had to kill off the entire character. And yeah, it's like the Family Guy. The Family Guy back in the early seasons actually was cancelled, but it was brought back. And that's not the series I had even seen in much lately since I kind of lost any much interest in this series. As has many others. Like there isn't this theory about like say why Ash has always remained as a 10-year-old. Well, there's another theory that every single season, every other region that he traveled to, like Aloha, Kanto, not Kanto, but other Galar, not maybe Paldea, but that never actually happened because, as we remember, except for Game Guy, when he was in the first series, the original series, when he was attacked by those sparrows, it's believed that he was attacked and he ended up in a coma. So everything that played out from that first original series and onwards until he was in the Galar region didn't even happen. It's only in his mind, like in a coma. And I mean that would have been could have been some explanation, but there is another theory that the legendary bird Ho Ho actually by seeing it will grant someone eternal happiness and like eternal life. I, I don't think a Pokemon bird like a legendary Pokemon can even grant that type. The only one that might even be able to grant anything that's immortal life might be Arceus, the creator of all things. I mean, it created Palkia, uh, Dialga, another, and some others. So why not be able to that? And I will be beautiful a little bit. Well, that was something happened. But yeah, so how many things are how many theories of different shows out there. The same thing as when like Hey Arnold. Many wonder what happened to his parents. If he was living with his grandparents at that boarding house, well, but at least they revealed his family. His parents was explorers. Oh well. Have any of you guys ever been watching Hey Arnold at all before? You know, Hey Arnold is actually a very good show. It was made in, I believe, it was in the late '90s. First time when it was first broadcasted in Sweden, though. But the thing is, it wasn't even in it was in English when it first happened. But they had so many good episodes in that series. Um, oh, there are two particular episodes that was really good from Hey Arnold. Ghost of Four-Eyed Yak, that was pretty good. And Ghost Bride. I mean, those two pretty good episodes from that series. I mean, I cannot deny that. They were really good. But oh, you mean like the Hey Arnold has been competing against this boy that was actually seems to be at bottomless, but eventually he lost. Yeah, I remember that one. About Hey Arnold. I believe it was sometimes in I believe it was early 2000s, and it was about tearing down, demolishing the boarding house. But the grandfather said that the building was historical protected. There were actually um, a fight against the local people, um, and that they also called as the Tomato War because they used mostly tomatoes against each other. Um, oh, the Jungle movie. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it. I think I've seen like what 2, 3 times. That movie was originally supposed to be released much earlier. It was actually postponed several times due to some. I think it was like budget reasons. Um, Maybe the script had to be remade and all that. It's yeah, it was really much of this reason that I believe. But eventually, then when the movie came out, because in that episode when Arnold found this journal from his parents, they on the last entrance mentioned that they had to go back with their friend Eduardo to save the green-eyed people in South America or Central. Despite he found a map that literally showed the way from the town all the way throughout the jungle to the city of the green-eyed people. I don't believe that first time that when that episode was released, I don't think that there were any plans at the time to it maybe they decide to make another episode of that much later on, maybe like a special one or maybe a movie. But they decide to make Hey Arnold when he finds his parents as a movie. Twist is when that happened near the end. Helga would have been his bully throughout the entire series from the very start. And throughout even in the movie. Ha! I mean, who even imagined that? I mean, what the? I mean, he even had tried several times in the series to even confess her feelings for Arnold, but that didn't happen. I mean, either she was too scared or something else came between. But in the last movie, they actually did happen to pull that off, where she confessed to him, and he was stunned. I mean, I understand how Arnold feels because how much she had been, I mean, called him big head, football head, and some other things that between. And I mean, for first, every single time when Arnold hang out with Helga, even though she felt like she wanted to just to confess and all that, but never did. And how much she was when she was standing next to him, how she smiled and all that, but when he looked at her, she immediately looked like angry. So I don't think Arnold even had remotely real feelings for her at the time, but after he'd been confessed to, well, I mean, it's something that many fans of the show never expected that they even would pull off the whole thing. But you know what? I'm actually glad that they managed to pull the thing that Helga did propose, not propose, but confessing to Arnold. And how near the end of the movie where they actually were in couple now, but they were actually there were two people in that movie, and there were somehow did have feelings for each other. Gerald and Phoebe. Phoebe, which is Helga's best friend, and Gerald will be Arnold's best friend. And even in the show, there were some scenes there, I believe, in some couple of episodes that there were some attraction between Phoebe and Gerald. But it turned out it wasn't until like in the last movie that actually also happened. And I'm really glad that did. I mean, throughout the series, there were hints that they both liked each other, but they never took the first step to even ask them out, anything like that. But I'm actually glad that they did pull that off. And as for another thing, is probably like many of you have seen, Phineas and Ferb, where Cadence and Jeremy actually became a couple, like uh, Vanessa and Ferb, how they became a couple near the end, in a little bit more near future, and how Isabella and Phineas literally became a couple also. And I think it's not a bad combination of that. But considering how many episodes of series out there have been, how many characters in different series that have been hoping to be proven to be a couple, like Scooby Doo, there were always have been people that assume that Daphne and Fred were a couple for the entire time, but it wasn't even that. And but it wasn't like in the Mystery Incorporated, but they lived in a Crystal Cove, where Velma and Shaggy were in fact a couple in the beginning of the whole thing, but they eventually broken up. That not even Scooby, Shaggy's best friend, was not even aware that his best friend was dating. And even though there was not a thing almost near the end of the series where um, Fred and Daphne did in fact start being dating and end up engaged. But after finding out that his father, the mayor, wasn't his actual father, that he was stolen as a baby from his birth parents when they came back to Crystal Cove, and that lie made him to start questioning anything, like and where his parents were now. So he had broken up his engagement with Daphne, left town, and later came back. After that, and how they somehow changed the whole timeline. They were once again engaged, but they only were the only ones that remember the previous timeline. So how did that make sense? It's another so many plot twists of how couples or people that were supposed to just be friends and eventually turn out to be as a couple. Like I can give one example. In the first grade on the high school, they were just like that, best friends. And there was like in season three, I believe. I believe it was season three's finale, where they actually revealed their true feelings for each other and became a couple. So it's still how many of Mario Pony series? Cheese Sandwich and Pinky, they were assumed right after when he first appeared and when he interacted with Pinky, they were shipped. And eventually were identified as a real confirmed couple near the end. Same thing as for another unexpected turn event, Lyra and Sweet Drops, aka Bon Bon, who were roommates throughout the entire series and even from season 1. When they first appeared, they were always being shipped. But it wasn't until like season 9 when they actually confessed their feelings for each other, like proposing to both of each other, and they got married in the final episode. So that's another plot twist. I mean, that was one thing that we never ever seen. Exactly. Sons of Shimmer, Flash Sentry. I mean, the human version, they did end up dating in the human world. Well, I wouldn't say dating, more like actual dating at all. I mean, Sunset only like used. She only took advantage of Flash, only to make her look more popular. But I wouldn't be surprised in the Legend of Everfree, the last movie they made, where Flash and Sunset actually realized, or when Flash realized, but that Princess Twilight won't be back as much as that he had hoped for, and that she's a princess of Equestria, and even though they may have some attraction, oh wait, there is another couple of Malapunta series. I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but when Applejack and her family were invited by Pinkie Pie to celebrate their heartwarming eve with her family at the rock farm, there were some scenes where near the end or like that when Big Mac was sitting next to Marvel. Oh, I got it. How they were blushing, and I believe it was the best gift ever, where Sugar Bell would actually with Big Mac to the Rock Farm to celebrate their second year again, the second time, when they were kissing, and in the background behind them, Marble was crying. So it was a clear sign she was in fact in love with Big Mac the whole time, but since she's a shy character, it makes perfect sense why she was never really outspoken. If she had confessed her feelings for Big Mac even before then, the whole thing may have been different. But the other thing that most fans may hadn't even considered that. When exactly did Big Mac fall in love with Sugar Bell? Because if that had to put that in consideration, maybe if Marble had realized when that had done that even before Big Mac had even met Sugar Bell, maybe she had a chance to be that. But there's another thing that most people, some fans may remember, some may even not remember, is that when Pinky came out of contact with Twilight, um, when she learned about genealogy, meaning the study of family trees and all that, when she believed that maybe I found a possibility that Applejack's family and Pinky could be related. But since the genealogy list of that word Pinky saw, it was smudged. So she couldn't even tell if she was really related to the Apple family. So they went to see um, another relative of theirs, and even they couldn't even. Oh, I got it. Let me guess. Connection problem again, like the third time. Um, but yeah, so basically, when Applejack and the Pinky, along with Granny Smith and Apple Bloom and Big Mac, went to see Golden Delicious. Yeah, sorry, Cody. See you later. So basically, what happened that when they went to see if they were true, so if so if the Apple siblings were related to Pinky, they would have been exactly how far cousins. Maybe I don't believe that like the first removed once like the first time cousin living like that, maybe like a distant cousin or some perspective. Maybe that might have been if they were had been related. So if Big Mac or sorry, if Big Mac and Marble would have ended up being a couple, that might have been showing us a bad sign or at least the wrong signals to the audience. At least that might have been a possibility. Fine. I don't know. Even if this Apple Bloom and her family, along with Big Mac, would start dating Marble, and even if they had learned they were, I don't know if Big Mac would even consider still be dating Marble. I mean, it would have been like the same thing as if Applejack would start dating Brayburn, her cousin from Appaloosa. Same thing. So it's if the Apple family are related to the Pie family, but as Applejack did say, tell Pinky that each other as a family, as many people do to these days. Like you can see your old as a best friend, like as a sister or brother, and even an old family friend can sometimes be called uncle or aunt. I mean, especially that someone you have known for a long time, and like they can be an old family friend to your parents, like a friend from school that known they're the same age, and having someone and have been much involved in your life throughout the entire childhood until you're adult. I mean, it's really possible that like say if Game Guy had an uncle and turned out he was actually not even his related uncle, but he was actually his dad's best friend for a long time, even from school years, and that he grew up with his dad's best friend as he interacted with them and his brothers throughout over years, and they were comfortable and even start calling me Uncle, like Uncle John or Uncle Danny or something like that. You know what I mean? So it's another thing about it. Sometimes you don't really have to be related to be considered as someone's as a family. I mean, I see my best friend as like a brother to me. I mean, we're all the same age, so and that as many people do. Like many people can actually can see well can see each other as related in some way, like maybe it's calling each other as a sibling. I think it's actually uh I don't think this stream will be that long. I think maybe just an hour and a half, give or take. But so yeah, people really can't don't have to be related to each other just to be called as a family. Like say, if I adopted, let's say, my sister's kids, they will be technically by law be my kids, but they also be my nieces and nephew. But would they still call me dad? I don't think so. They will still call me uncle. And I would even if I did have to if I adopted my kids, like my sister's kids, I would still treat them as they were as if they were my own. Even if I know for a fact deep down in my heart that they were only my nieces and nephew. But I wouldn't treat them any difference. Sure, I would even call them my daughters, my son, or something like that. But I would just call them as my adopted kids, and that's just some of the thing. But speaking of family, when it comes to distant families, sometimes when you're like the oldest, and when you have your mom have a second child, it can either be a brother or sister, and they start treating your younger sibling much more better than you, like spending more time and even buying more expensive things, more stuff to that younger child than compared to you. There is only one word, well, actually two words for how to describing that particular child: golden child. I don't know why they call it golden child, but there also this, as many families have, favorite and the black sheep. Many family has a black sheep or something like that. I mean, well, that depends. Oh, okay, bye for that. But it depends on like what the reason for someone in the family being would be considered as a black sheep. Um, I have like an example. Even though I know for a fact that game guy might not even appreciate it, but as his older brother did when he was a teenager after he was sentenced to lifetime in jail, many in his and their extended family would consider his older brother as the black sheep, what he did, which it makes perfect sense in that. But is as many others could also have someone in the family that would consider as like a robber or something, pretty much have done something very bad. But as it is, families might either have a golden child or black as I mean, if you're even a part of family and you have two more siblings, one is in the middle, one is younger, and you're the oldest, and you may wonder who within the family would have been the favorite one. Sometimes they can be the oldest. From what I understand, it usually have been the youngest to be the favorite one. I mean, the favorite one. And if there's only like two children in the family, they always telling the older one to always to give um, anything that anything or even money because you have to stand as a good example as an older sibling. But in my family, none of that was not even a thing. We were treated as equals. But now these days, not as much. My family has not much contact with my sister. And if my family, except for me, nobody in my family has any form of contact, I do. I'm the only one who is willing to do so. But do I forgive her what she done that she lied to our family like that? Uh, not much. It's really like I really don't want to just do it right away. So but I am moving on from that event and try to maintain a good relationship with my sister as much as possible. I really want to have a good relationship with her and her kids as I want to have them part of my life. So yeah, I mean it's sometimes being having thinking it's like in your families that you have to be in, to pick sides from one to believe in. It's not a thing. I really, if there was in my family, if I had to pick sides of what to consider one who's a bad one as a good one, and that's it's difficult. I really want to have be in a good terms with both my siblings. But if I had to start suddenly to start picking side in which side of family, if my mom, my dad, and my brother decide to cut all ties with my sister and gives me an opportunity or give me an option, if I cut ties with her all together too, they will start treat me as much. They will still treat me as much as a family. But if I don't, they will cut ties with me. And if I need help with anything, like help with when it comes to like if I have an accident or something, they would even help me at all, if it would come to that. That isn't one of those things. If that had happened, I would have refused to pick side. I wouldn't even allow that to happen. I prefer to be neutral. I want the family to be back together as it was before, but the chances for that is slim to none to ever exist, to ever happen again. Even though my mom had admitted that she misses her grandkids, she hasn't even seen them in over almost like more than 6 months. I haven't seen them in 6 months either. None of me in my family has. It's just how much of this. Well, let's say there's a lot of drama. But I recently learned that my sister has a new boyfriend and they were expecting their first child together, but it didn't work. She lost the baby though. She took it very hard. She ended up in the hospital and almost died. So, yeah. I really want to have a good relationship with my sister and my brother, no matter what happens. Even if I had been considered as a pariah or even an outcast to my own family. If I had to stand up for what I believe, what I wanted, if I had to stand up for to be have a good relation with my sister and her kids, other than if I mean I had to be in a pick side, if I had to stay and pick side for be in a good relationship with my sister and her family, and not to be pick side, like if I had to be that, or if I picked her, and my side of my parents and my brother would cut all ties with me, and would even help me with if I had any need, but if I needed help with something. Well, if that comes to that, I don't even know what to think. Sure, I might just simply say, yeah, I will finally pick her side. But at the same time, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll probably cut ties with her. But would I? No. I would remain still in contact with her, even though my parents and my brother tells me not to. But I wouldn't. That's fine, Malachi.
Mm.
Yeah, I could left again. He had some problem with his Wi-Fi.
Mm.
But yeah, pretty much that. And it won't be any super millionaire afterwards since Game Guy is still in the Triforce stream.
Mm.
And I'm gonna focus on to finish off the next quiz based on the Flintstone series, the original series, and might some of the movies, but not the live action. And I won't even include any of the newest series that they made. It's just not the same. At the moment, I have only 11 questions left to do. And I did make Kubo's Christmas story today, earlier before I started the stream. It was Kubo's character with Applejack. And that is the audio. I did went through the list of the stories for Christmas. How many that's gonna be audio? At the moment, this is only one, that's for Kubo, but the rest they will text the music. I mean, at least the moment it might be more as audio, but depends what is. But since I have, let's see now, will be the 1, 2, 3, 4, well, about 5 weeks, give or take, to work on the stories. I would originally have to put this as the first story time I did stories. I posted them from December 1st to 12th. But the year after, I changed the plan, and that's so I instead of being posted every single story from day to day, I put them on the same day on Christmas. And here's the thing: if I had made today 20 stories, and if I want to upload all of them at the same time, that would be a problem. I can't. That's the limit of how many. There's a limit on how many stories videos you can upload at the same time,
You
which
should
is
probably
50.
start uploading them from the 13th to the 24th, like a Swedish 12 Days of Christmas Stories thing.
Maybe, but even if I did post all, I say if I made 20 and I put them all at the same time, I wouldn't even be able to do so. The limit is 15 videos at the most. But I also have made some new, watching some videos on YouTube were about cryptids, and I actually found uh, I actually been not subscribed to that channel, but I follow it by watching it from time to time to see any further updates. And at the moment, I have total of questions on paper 1,718, give or take. And that, my friends, are a lot of questions. And it might not even be. But thanks to that AI program that I found, not program, but website, I can ask that particular AI for more questions, like maybe more like updated versions or any update information or something like that. Not only about cryptids, but also about space or particularly anything in general. But the only slight problem for me when using that website, it's slowing down the speed of the Wi-Fi a bit. Same thing when I was using the StreamYard. But it's a small price to pay for, though. I'm okay with it. And after this Flintstone quest is done, I was considered to do another quest based on. Um, let's go see here. I have came up with two more movie quests that I hadn't even done yet. The science fiction movie The Core, and the comedy movie Slapping the Stinkers. And there is two other quests that actually no. One is about uh Hotel Transylvania, not only about the movies, but also there's on that TV show they made. Another one is called Kenny Starfighter, which is actually a Swedish program, kids show back in the 90s. Yep, and that's gonna happen. So no matter how many people say we don't know shit of that thing. Why not put it in there? Oh man. Um, there is one other France history and Mexico history. What else? Ooh, there is another. a Swedish kid show that I thought of doing as a quiz, called Secret of Embla, and two other Swedish pro science fiction kid show called. Well, technically, the thing is, if I had to translate the name, it gives me two names: either Milky Way or it's Winter Street. So that's gonna be interesting to see how you guys to choose on shows that are based on Swedish program that's not that ever been released in other sites. Though I do have two Scooby Doo quiz and two My Little Pony quiz apparently, and yeah, probably not much that. I have at least three Star Wars Legend quiz and one Star Wars Disney Canon quiz based on that. From that can't be included anything from episode 7, 9, and any of the other shows that made afterwards. Oh, about that. Let's see. Now on Tuesday, this Tuesday is actually going to be the newest Star Wars series on Netflix. Disney Plus. Star Wars, um, the Skeleton Crew, which is set to take place around the same year as The Mandalorian and oh man, my mind went blank there for a moment. I don't even remember saying, but about the same time. The stream is gonna end pretty much very shortly here, so no worries, game guy. Uh, so yeah, there's a lot of being today. A lot of quests have been taken care of, but those quizzes might be put on hold for a time being, since I will try to focus more on the stories. But then, by that being, I really need to go back to my email to find the pictures for both the kids from Ape Story, and if there are other story pictures in the story. Oh, this is gonna take me. It's still like, how many were the stories they had to tell again? Let's see. How many were they total? They were all like not that many, I think. Let's see. Where are you? Where are you? Man, that was a lot of them. 15 stores. So if I did that, all of them as audio stories, I would say bye bye, my throat, my voice. Uh, like I liked it only like a couple of days ago when I made 10 stories. I think that's the limit, pretty much. And even as Spygall is like, she was like, holy damn, how much free time do you have? A lot of free time, actually. I mean, I don't even have, I mean, I normally don't have any other hobbies that I've been doing my stores and all that stuff. So, pretty much. uh, well, other people, it's been an interesting stream. Even though I wasn't not expecting that Game Guy would even be, muted. But it's fine. I mean, unless that he already knew that's gonna be a Triforce stream or something like that, but I don't even know. Uh, well, it's been fun though. Well, everyone, I'll see you next time, which will be next Friday. I think. Huh, look at that. next Wednesday, like next, no, no, next Friday is actually Finland's Independence Day. That's kind of cool. Well, everyone, it's been fun. This is Fish Download signing off. Bye.
Bye.
And if you see Donald, just stay away from him. I mean, he is probably too busy for his work right now, so don't bother him.
AMC,
Yeah.
AMC Koval, make a wish.
Hey, Cody.